No matter what people say, I'm not a shill for eBay. And I want to talk to you about that and a kind of a key metric that I learned about recently that I thought I want to share with you guys. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John with Flippin' Ain't Easy. And today I want to talk about a few things and set the record straight on some stuff here. You know, Josh and I, we have some really good conversations in the eBay Power Hour podcast. And we also have a lot of good follow up conversations, like a lot of bonus material. This is really not a shill video for that stuff. It's just to kind of tell you, we get a lot of folks that watch the lives that have been a part of the channel that have been really engaged in the conversation over there on that channel. And, there's been a lot of, I think, really kind of heated, spirited conversation about just promoted listings, kind of what we've been talking about with promoted listings, certain concepts. Whether I agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. But I encourage you guys to go and check it out. It's the eBay Power Hour podcast, and of course, contribute to the conversation. Now, the good thing about that podcast for me, I'm learning, guys. I'm learning through just taking a step back from just doing the basics and sort of evaluating my own progress as a reseller, listening to Josh, what he has to say, and then, of course, your data that you put in the comments. And it's sort of an extension of this channel as far as all the comments and the concerns people have, the questions people have, the feedback that people have. And I just hope that you guys see this as it's a spirited conversation, but I want you guys to understand that I don't know everything, and never have I made a statement stating that I know everything. Selfishly, this channel is in place because I want to, of course, build a channel, but in the process of doing that, I want to learn, and I learn all the time. Am I going to make mistakes? Am I going to come off as some guy that doesn't know what the hell he's talking about sometimes? Yeah, I am. And that's because I'm human. And that's because I have the guts to get in front of this camera. Am I an idiot because maybe I'm wrong on something? No, I hope not. Am I an idiot because maybe I have an opinion about something that you don't agree with? I hope not either. But here we are. And I'm not making this video to kind of complain about that. That's just the nature of YouTube. Maybe you have time to go through the patents of eBay. Maybe you have time to go through that mundane documentation. But I'm running an eBay business before I do YouTube. That's my main concern here. And had a great weekend. Had $1,600 in sales. Hopefully, it's a start of something good here. Make a late Q4 run. That's my main focus, and that should be your main focus. It shouldn't be perusing the eBay patents to try to figure out all the ins and outs. Now, it may seem like that's what we're doing, but no, I use some resources, ebayinc.com. I even use Bart to help me kind of navigate through a lot of that information, and I try to understand it the best of my ability. And then I work with Josh. Josh has a wealth of knowledge, and he has his own perspectives because he sells differently. He sells different types of stuff. I have different experiences than him. And we're not always going to agree on some things, but one thing I try to bring to the table every time we have the conversation on the eBay Power Hour podcast, or even when I make a video here, is I try to learn some way, somehow, whether it's through dealing with him, dealing with the comments. And that's what I'm trying to do. Now, what I did learn last week, and one thing I wanted to tell you about, is ROAS. And we hit on that on Saturday, talked about that on the eBay Power Hour podcast, but it's something that I wanted to bring to you guys. If you guys don't watch the podcast, I still think it's beneficial information to share with you guys. And that is ROAS, return on ad spend. Now, if you don't promote, then I guess this conversation is really not going to pertain to you. However, my assertion has been recently, and I think going forward will be, for most categories, for most items you are probably going to need to promote going forward to get the best results. So this is about getting the most money, most sales that you can with the items that you're selling. Okay, it's as simple as that. eBay doesn't deposit anything else but money into our accounts. And how do you get as much money as you can? Well, number one, you got to play eBay's game. So when we're talking return on ad spend, ad spending, that means advertising, that means promoted listings. Okay, and eBay has a metric. If you go into marketing, under, I believe, promotions, and then under the dashboard on eBay Seller Hub, it will give you a number. It'll say ROAS. And the definition of return on ad spend is the amount of dollars, how much money is earned for every dollar spent on advertising. That means simply your sales. Your sales are a combination of the item price, the shipping, if you charge shipping extra, and taxes. Bottom line, whether we like it or not, that tax number is thrown into that equation. So that's how much we sold the item for. Well, the amount that you spend in advertising to sell that item is based on your promoted rates. And this is where I'm probably going to disagree with Josh Galt, and this is also hopefully going to prove my point that I'm not a shill for eBay. Now, I know I've kind of seemed to be all over the map on this subject of promoted listings. It's because I'm trying to find the sweet spot to make it work. Now, ROAS tells you, return on ad spend tells you that if I'm at 9.5, which is what I'm at on my main account, down from 12.5, well, you want to bring that number up as high as you can, for one, okay? Because for every dollar you spend, I'm making $9.5 in revenue on promoted listings. It's down from 12.5. Why is that? Now, I think the misconception here, and why Josh and I probably disagree, is my ROAS, return on ad spend, went down when I decided I was going to try for about a month and use the suggested rates instead of staying firm where I was at 10%. And all it did was simply I made fewer sales, and I was spending more money for the privilege of making those fewer sales. So instead of $12.50 in returns from every dollar I spend on advertising, I'm only getting $9.50. And the mindset here is, well, let's just keep playing the promoted listings game and spend as much as we can on promoted listings and get more impressions. And that's the first thing that comes to my mind is, yes, you're going to get more impressions, but you're doing so at a cost. So if that $50 item that I'm promoting at 10%, and now I'm deciding to promote at 15%, and I'm not changing the price. If you change the price, chances are, if you up the price to offset your promoted listings, well, chances are you're pricing your item too high for the market. The market won't support that. Now, some people claim it's worked for them, but I can tell you it's never worked for me. And the market doesn't care what your costs are. It's going to support what that item is worth to the average person. Some people will spend more, some people will spend less. The average person will spend somewhere in between. And if you're always at the highest part of that number, whatever that number happens to be, or you exceed it, you are going to hurt your sales because you're chasing all the fees that you're paying, whether it's the cost of goods or your ad rates. So in my mind, the goal is with ROAS is to spend as little as you can in promoted listing fees so that you can sell the same item at the same price that you're normally used to selling it, if that makes sense. And that in itself will bring up the ROAS number, which will mean you're maximizing the amount of money you're spending on ads to make the same amount of money that the market supports. Bottom line. And that's kind of where it has to be. So my focus moving forward isn't how much can I spend in promoted listings because I want to drag all this traffic in front of my listings. Yes, it would be nice to get as many people as I can in front of all my listings, but not at the price that eBay wants me to pay. So I have to find that number. And I'm convinced that number is not 2%, guys. It's somewhere between 2 and the 10% mark, somewhere around there. And I've been known to go 10%. I'm starting to bring things down a little bit. I'm starting to drag it down. I'm down to 8, and I'm going to keep bringing it down until my sales slow down. My sales slow down, I'm going to bring it back to where that mark was, when I was making good sales. So if I'm at 8% and I'm having a $1,500-$1,600 weekend, I'm happy with that. Okay. And I'm going to try to bring that ROAS number up. And that's just another metric that you can use to help run your business, to get an idea of where that sweet spot is. So when you make that change from 3% to 5%, okay, or vice versa, keep an eye on your ROAS number. When you raise that from 3 to 5%, did your ROAS go down? And if it did, maybe that number is too high. Maybe that promoted number is too high. So you have to look at these metrics to determine where you need to be. Now, someone like Tommy, a great guy, knows his stuff. He'll tell you there's other ways to find what that number should be. And I agree with him. But I'm just talking about ROAS for now, this very moment. As far as I'm concerned, it's just another tool in your toolbox to help you determine where you need to be with your promoted listing rate. I think a lot of people are confused by that. Where should I promote? How should I promote? And for me, it is to find the optimal number. But that is how I'm going to look at it, and I think it's an important number if you're using promoted listings. So I want to know what you guys think respectfully down below. This whole eBay game, it's not all that hard, guys. It really isn't. I think that I complicate things in my own mind because I'm introducing new things to look at. And if I was just running my store, I would keep it simple. But because I'm also doing an eBay channel on YouTube, I think that I owe it to you guys to at least have the conversation and to explore different things that affect resellers, and to get better as a reseller because of the conversation. But figuring it all out, like I always say, is yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. And YouTube thinks you're going to like one of these videos, so give them a look. And until next time, oh, by the way, we have a live stream today, and we're going to have sunny Las Vegas on the channel, and it's going to be a good conversation. So come and join us at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and we'll see you then, guys. Take care.